Hey everyone, welcome to our last sculpting part of this series where we're going to make some scary trees in the background. I'm going to start this one just like I did on the Hinwin and Gurgi ones where I do a simple merge on the models, specifically the Gurgi one, and decimate it. I've saved this off as a new file and we've got our floor plane. So at this point I've got Taran, Hinwin, and Gurgi all decimated. I'm going to add a tube. And this is going to serve as the main trunk of the tree. Really, we'll be using the tube for most of this tutorial. Everything should be pretty straightforward. This is pretty quick. So now I create another tube that's going to be the branch. And yet another tube. We just switched to the drawing tubes. And for this one, we'll make a branch grouping that we'll just duplicate around. Make sure that we've got it not just pointing in funny direction on one plane, but rather if I go to the top view here, you can see that the branches kind of go out in different directions. That way I can get a lot of use out of this tree when the silhouette looks different from different angles. So I can duplicate the tree around and just turn it around. Add a couple more tubes, getting smaller as we go down the branch. Work it into the trunk there. Maybe another one or two here before we're all done. Just make sure it does connect. You always have to be turning around your perspectives as you adjust the tubes to make sure it looks good in all your views and is hitting right where it needs to be. All right, maybe a couple more. I think that looks pretty good. I'm going to grab all of these, do a simple merge on it, and then I'm going to duplicate that and rotate it around for some variation and place it on another part of the tree. We'll thicken up the trunk to accommodate. So similar to the tree as a whole, these branch groupings, you can get a lot of use out of them just by moving things around and rotating things around, as long as it looks different enough from each angle. So here we're doing the roots of the tree that kind of reach up from the ground. And using the plane and the grid as a good reference for where those parts go underground. Get another one. So we're not really spending a lot of time creating tube after tube. Instead, we get a good grouping and then duplicate it around. I'm going to switch to my clay buildup tool and we'll remesh the main trunk, and then I'll just go up and down and create the sort of striation pattern that the bark creates on the tree, and we'll build it up on the underneath side of the branch groupings. So it looks like, you know, where the branches leap out of the trunk, there's some buildup there. Just work our way around the tree. Clay buildup is great for creating these sort of layered striations. We'll use the move tool to kind of thicken things near the base. All right, now I'm going to duplicate the branch grouping, and we're going to put quite a few up here at the top of the tree to where it kind of breaks apart. Scaling, just moving things around. At this point, what your goal is just to get pleasing silhouettes as you turn the model around. I'm going to go ahead and create a few more unique branch groupings here. If you click on a point on the tube tool, it will make it a sharp point, which is for the most part what we're going to be using. And here I'm going to duplicate the second grouping around. Once again, just pay attention to your silhouettes as you do this. After I've moved some of those branch groupings into place, I'll then use the move tool to get some more variation out of them. And we'll get a few more here on the base. can see that this is already pretty close to done. This goes in really fast. These trees are going to be in the background of our main illustration, so while we may add detail, we could spend a lot of time doing detail in the bark, but my plan here is instead I'm going to get some more nice overall detail laid in. Here I'm using the sharp brush to kind of create some striations on the branch, these smaller branch groupings. But then once we're in Blender, we'll use some a tiled shader on the normal to get even more kind of bumps and crags in the bark. So it doesn't all have to be sculpted. It could be, it would just take a while if we sat down and really detailed out our sculpt. This would be a great time to get in and do some custom brush alphas, and instead of just the clay brush. It's something I honestly haven't done a lot in Nomad. It's just a matter of taking the time to create some. Maybe I'll do some in the near future. We can create a video based on custom brush alphas and get into that. So more clay buildup tool, just sharp brush, creating that texture and the branches. I'm only going to create one of these trees, and then I'll be duplicating that, moving it, and rotating it around in the background. Only one is really necessary. Again, you see me just going back and forth with that clay buildup tool, just creating texture as we go. We'll use the move tool and get that silhouette looking nice. It's getting pretty close. Here pretty soon we'll start adding the face on the tree. All right, we're using the move tool up near the top. All right, so here we're going to start working in the face. So I'm going to do that by using the mask tool. And I'm going to have to increase the subdivision on the tree so I can get some more detail of the mask. You saw it looked a little bit blocky. All I did was subdivide the mesh to get a little bit smoother looking mask. We'll mask the shapes of the face just based on the illustration, and just switch back and forth between mask and unmask till we get everything dialed in the way we want it. It's getting pretty close here. And from here, we just invert the mask, and you can use engrave or emboss. A lot of times what I like to do, and that's me messing with the engrave or emboss, sometimes I'll just unmask it and use the move tool to push things in. But here, what I actually did is, so I was playing with that, doing the split and stuff. I'm not sure I'm entirely used to using the engrave or emboss, but I used the split tool, I believe, to create the two different sections, and then I just scaled in the inside section of the face, and I switched my paint tool and made it full black with full roughness, full metalness, and all black. Even when an object is fully rough, a lot of times you'll have a really light sheen of specularity on it, but if you crank all the metalness all the way up, then you won't have that sheen on there. So just to clarify, I've got two sections. I've got a interior section of the tree that was, again, split off using the engrave emboss tools on the mask. That's under the mask options, where you can go and kind of mess around with it. Again, I'm not entirely comfortable with the way all those work exactly. One of those will give you what you need to split off the section and basically cut out the holes on the other. And you'll have to mess with the thickness on that as well. Here I'm just adding some nice extra little detail just with a sharp brush, going in adding some pock marks and some little warts to the tree shape. Pretty close to done here. From here I will merge all of my outer part of the tree, and then I'll paint it a gray-brown, fill it in. And I'm going to take a darker brown, and I'm going to go to my paint settings and mess with the depth filtering. If you mess with depth filtering, you can get it to where it'll just paint in the creases. It takes some tweaking to do. I did this and kind of messed around. I'm not entirely sure it's where I want it to be. So when we get to the Blender render, I will end up using more of a procedural texture color for it. But that's essentially it. Now I'll just move this into place. And in the next video, we will be taking all of these sculpts into Blender and doing a final render. We'll be doing some cool stuff with VDB volumes in Blender and duplicating this tree around, getting our light dialed in. From here, I'm going and tweaking the light shine on the tree so I can do a nice turnaround. All right, and here we have the turnaround of the tree. We will actually be seeing the back of the tree when we duplicate it around in our Blender render. Until then, like, comment, subscribe, and stay tuned.